Here's the thing nobody tells you about AI. Most people are using it like a smarter Google search. They type in a question, they get an answer, and then they walk away. And yeah, that's useful. But that's not where the real power is. The people who are actually getting ahead right now, the ones building businesses faster, creating content at scale, running operations with tiny teams, they're not just using AI. They're building systems with it. And that is a completely different game. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. We're going to talk about what an AI system actually is, the framework I use to design them, the tools that make it all click together, and the mistakes that quietly kill most people's setups before they ever get off the ground. By the end, you're going to have a clear picture of how to build something that actually runs, not just a cool demo, but a real working system. Let's get into it. So first, what even is an AI system? Because that phrase gets thrown around a lot, and it means different things to different people. Here's how I think about it. An AI system is any repeatable process where artificial intelligence handles one or more steps automatically, without you needing to manually do it every time. That's it. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to involve code. It just has to be something that runs on its own. Think about it this way. If you're manually writing social media captions every single day, that's a task. But if you build a system where your blog post goes in one end and a week's worth of captions comes out the other, automatically, that's a system. One requires your time every day. The other requires your time once to set it up. That's the shift we're going for. Now let me give you the framework I use to build these things. I call it the 4-part system loop. And every effective AI system I've ever built or seen follows this same structure. Part 1 is the trigger. This is what starts the system. It could be a form submission, a new file appearing in a folder, a scheduled time, an incoming email, anything that kicks things off. The trigger is your entry point. Without a clear trigger, your system doesn't know when to run. Part 2 is the input. This is the raw material your AI is going to work with. Text, data, a document, an audio file, a URL. Whatever your system needs to actually do its job. You want your input to be as clean and consistent as possible, because garbage in means garbage out, every time. Part 3 is the AI action. This is where the magic actually happens. You're giving the AI a specific job to do with that input. Summarize this, rewrite this in this tone, extract these data points. Generate 3 options for this, classify this into one of these categories. The more specific your instruction, the better your output. And part 4 is the output and delivery. What does the system do with what the AI produced? Does it send an email, update a spreadsheet, post to a platform, save to a folder, create a task in a project management tool? This is where the system connects back to the real world and actually does something useful. Trigger, input, AI, action, output. That's the loop. And you can chain these loops together to build incredibly sophisticated systems, but always start with one clean loop first. Now let's talk tools, because the framework only works if you have the right infrastructure underneath it. There are 3 layers you need to think about. Layer 1 is your AI model. This is your thinking engine. GPT-4, Claude, Gemini. Pick one. For most use cases, they're more similar than different. What matters more is how you use it than which one you pick. Layer 2 is your automation platform. This is what connects everything together. Tools like Make, Zapier, or N8N let you build workflows that trigger automatically, pass data between apps, and run your AI actions without you touching anything. If you haven't explored these yet, this is genuinely where the leverage is. Affiliate, software. One tool I keep coming back to for this, and the one I actually use to manage my own setups, is linked in the description. It handles the logic layer really cleanly and plays well with most AI APIs, which makes building these systems a lot less frustrating. Layer 3 is your data and storage layer, somewhere for things to live. Google Sheets, Notion, Airtable, a simple database. This is where your inputs come from and where your outputs land. Don't skip thinking about this layer. A lot of systems fall apart because nobody thought about where the information actually goes. Now let's talk about connecting AI to your actual workflow, because this is where most people hit a wall. They build a cool little AI demo and then they can't figure out how to make it part of how they actually work. Here's the key insight. Your AI system should plug into tools you already use, not replace them. If your team lives in Slack, your AI system should output to Slack. If your project management is in Notion, your outputs should land in Notion. If your sales team works out of a CRM, that's where the system should write to. Don't make people change their behavior to accommodate your AI. Make the AI fit into the behavior that already exists. That's how systems actually get used. Let me walk you through a real example. Let's say you're a content creator or a marketer, and every week you publish a long-form blog post or video script. Here's what a basic AI system for that looks like. Trigger. You drop a new document into a specific Google Drive folder. Input. The automation pulls the text from that document. AI action. It sends the content to your AI model with a prompt that says, generate 5 LinkedIn posts, 3 tweet threads, and a short email newsletter summary based on this content, in this tone and voice. Output. The results get written into a Notion database, organized by content type, with a status tag that says, ready for review. You set that up once, and then every week you drop a document and you come back to a full week of content ready to review and publish. That's a real system. That's not theoretical. People are running setups exactly like this right now. Let's talk about the mistakes that kill AI systems, because I've made most of these and I've watched a lot of other people make them too. Mistake 1, trying to build everything at once. I see this constantly. Someone watches a few videos, gets excited, and tries to build a 15-step automated pipeline on their first weekend. It breaks, they can't figure out where, and they give up. Start with one loop. Get it working. Then add complexity. Mistake 2, writing bad prompts. Your AI is only as good as the instructions you give it. Vague prompts produce vague outputs. If you want consistent, usable results, you need to invest real time into writing specific structured prompts. Include context, format requirements, tone guidance, and examples where possible. This alone is probably the highest leverage thing you can do. Mistake 3, ignoring error handling. What happens when your trigger fires but the input document is empty? What happens when the AI returns something that doesn't fit the expected format? What happens when an API call times out? If you don't build in logic to handle failure states, your system will break at the worst possible moment. Plan for things going wrong. Mistake 4, not reviewing outputs regularly, especially early on. AI systems need tuning. The first version is never the best version. Review outputs for the first few weeks, catch patterns in the errors, and refine your prompts and logic accordingly. Systems get better over time, but only if you pay attention. Okay, so now you know the framework, the tools, and the pitfalls. Let's talk about scaling. Because once you have one system working, the natural next question is, how do I build more? And how do I make the ones I have more powerful? The answer is modular thinking. Build your systems in reusable pieces. A prompt you write for summarizing content can be adapted for summarizing customer feedback, meeting notes, or research documents. A trigger and output workflow you build for one platform can be cloned and modified for another. Don't start from scratch every time. Build a library of components and remix them. Also, document your systems. I know that sounds boring, but it matters. Write down what each system does, what triggers it, what the prompt looks like, and where the output goes. Future you will be grateful. And if you ever bring on help or hand things off to a team, documentation is what makes that possible. If you want to go from understanding this conceptually to actually building these systems yourself and doing it faster than figuring everything out through trial and error, Affiliate course. The course I recommend is linked in the description. It walks you through building real AI systems from scratch with hands-on examples, and it's honestly the clearest path I've seen from beginner to actually having working automations running in your life or business. Here's the big picture takeaway from everything we covered today. AI is not a tool you use once and walk away from. It's infrastructure, and like any infrastructure, the value compounds over time. The system you build this week keeps running next month, next year, while you're doing other things. That's what leverage actually looks like. Start with one system. Use the 4-part loop. Trigger, input, AI, action, output. Connect it to tools you already use. Write tight prompts. Review your outputs. Then build the next one. That's how you go from someone who uses AI to someone who builds with it. And that difference is everything. If this was helpful, hit the like button and subscribe. I put out practical AI and automation content every week. And drop a comment below telling me what system you want to build first. I genuinely read every reply. I'll see you in the next one.